Hello, dear ones. Welcome back to the Indigo Rose Lounge. I'm your host, Alyce Dylan. Today, let's have a little meander down my path, my journey. Every one of us is unique. One of my favorite moments in mastery training, actually, and remember, I was doing this quite young. I went through first, second degree Reiki, and then got on my journey with mastery. And that's a story of its own that I do cover in the book. But I was sitting with my sensei one day, and in your 20s, not as a judgment, but just an observation, we're all pretty self-involved in our 20s. And I was doing some miraculous things. I had a very successful business. I was making an incredible amount of money. I had agents all over the country. I was in that success zone. And I also, through my practice of Reiki, was reawakening my indigo self quite clearly. I'd always been aware of it. But in this period, I was becoming much clearer on my connection and what I was hearing and what I was seeing. And so one day I said to her, have you ever in your life, I'm getting this clairvoyance, and my clairvoyance is coming and my empathy's back, and I've got to do this all while running this business and doing a little bit of a moan, but within a very confident setting, if you like. And she said to me so clearly, she said, absolutely, you are unique, just like everyone else. And at the time, I just responded flippantly and yes, I'm unique. And then I walked away from that discussion and sat with that for a long time, feeling suitably chastised. And that is the truth. We are all unique, just like everybody else. And when we allow for that, when we understand that, we really do give everybody else room to be just who they are. But we also claim our right to be just who we are, authentically. So I'm not going to interfere with your existence. I'm not going to tell you what you should and should not do. And then I claim that right for myself too, that I am going to live authentically according to my inner guidance. Online these days you have adverts that pop up quite a lot, especially on different social media, that invite you to click here and we'll design your unique plan. And I always imagine that there are maybe 5 plans and everybody gets, put into one of the 5. But the attraction of this has been designed specifically for you is quite compelling. And yet, we all within us, sitting here right now, have eternal access to our own unique plan, the one tailored specifically for us through our inner guidance. And Source, God, the divine, whatever your word is, all-knowing creator of everything, must have known how dumb we'd be, because it's very simple to access. If it feels good, it's good. If it feels bad, it's either not for you or you need to line up with it. In other words, you might have some resistance to what's actually in your best interests. And so you can analyze that path. This comes up with the last episode I did was on religion and how religious pathways can be, spiritual pathways can be very beneficial to the awakened indigo, and connecting with source and aligning with truth and all of those things that fit very well into spiritual practice. However, if someone has had a negative experience with some kind of spiritual path, they can be thrown off that. So that's what I mean. I mean that, let's say, a religious journey or a spiritual path is going to be really good for you, but you don't feel good about it because you have something in your past that turned you away from it. So that's what I mean when I say either it's not good for us or we're not aligned with it and we need to clean up some stuff. Which is why when we awaken, and this is the dichotomy, often, especially five-sensed individuals, who have a much easier time of this, let me tell you. I have some beautiful clients that I adore, that tell me that they had no indigo experiences as children. As children, they were normal in their minds, and they had nothing, no indigo experience. And then either they joined a spiritual journey, a spiritual path, and they started praying and meditating daily, or they took up yoga, or they took up meditation practice, whatever it is. They got onto some journey of elevation of frequency, and then they have their entire indigo, well, not indigo awakening, because indigo refers to those of us who were born this way, but they have their own spiritual awakening and become spiritually perceptive. And they're wonderful because they don't come with all the childhood trauma that us indigos end up accumulating because of being indigos in a world where we're surrounded by five-sensed others who don't understand what we are and really don't want to, are a bit afraid of us. So the awakened five-sensed individuals are wonderfully balanced. They're lovely friends to have as indigos. They're balanced, they're grounded. They've just now opened an additional sense, if you like, that it used to be in the days when we called ourselves Sixth Sense. We can't do that anymore because the white coats have tried to co-opt the Sixth Sense label. But previously, five-sensed individuals that go through a spiritual awakening often become spiritually perceptive without the childhood trauma, without the history of feeling that they needed to self-isolate or wrap themselves in blankets. So people will awaken. People will have experiences and join us in the spiritual perception realms. We know that it happens all the time. Obviously, we relate to other indigos most acutely because we have shared childhood trauma. We understand what it is, what a magnificent victory it is to have survived past 25. And so we have a deep connection, usually, to our indigo brothers and sisters. But here they come. They join us. Pick up a spiritual practice, join something. Pray and meditate every day. I challenge any five-sensed individual out there to sincerely pray, meditate, and contemplate spiritual right. They can pick up 10 different spiritual, scriptural, or 10 different books of different parts and just read a section every day. Just do a prayer of whatever origin every day and meditate for half an hour every day, 15 minutes to half an hour every day, and see if they don't awaken. See if they don't join you in the whole grandpa sitting in the corner and wants to say something set. I know it's a bit of a journey to that, and really we're in control of that, remember. If it freaks us out to see people that are not physically there, they won't do that to us. And they're very gentle. All you have to say is, I don't want to see that. And they won't appear. And they won't feed you that information. So there are people coming out of various different paths that are spiritually awakening. And then imagine their journey. So they've gone from being five-sensed, no internal dialogue, just five senses. This is what I can see, hear, touch, smell. This is my world. And then I take up a spiritual practice of some sort. I start praying, meditating, reading spiritual writings every day. Got it. Do that for a couple of months, and now suddenly I'm receiving intuition. It does also help if they stop using commercial toothpaste. But let's say that even accidentally or coincidentally that happens, and they stop using mouthwash too. and they use natural stuff. And then 3 or 4 months down the line, now suddenly, they're getting impressions or knowings or just a clairsentience perhaps of, I know this is not right for me, or I know this is, or I can feel now, wow, I have an overview and I can now see what's right for me and what's wrong for me. Oh, wow, I feel drawn to this and something wonderful happens. Get drawn to that and something wonderful happens. So they're awakening the sense and they're exploring it and figuring out what to do with it. How far can they take it? Where are the boundaries of it? And of course, the guidance there is always just elevate, keep yourself up there, keep yourself in joy, bliss, and happy. And as you do that and you continue with your meditate and whatever practice brought you here in the first place, just keep elevating. And those senses get sharper and those senses get clearer. And wow, what an amazing experience. They awaken. And then what are they confronted with? They're confronted with this bizarre spectrum of, you're either the baby of an archangel, you're a lizard person. No, maybe the lizard people are the other ones. You're an alien hybrid something, or you're what's the other one? You're a something else that also is as odd or weird or bizarre. And the normality of it has been stripped out. You just don't feel like you can be a normal human being. I encountered a couple a short time ago who came to the area newly, and they wanted to get in touch with some spiritually perceptive individuals. They wanted to broaden their circle. They were interested in shamanism and whatnot. And looking about, the only thing that they could really find was a drumming circle. And you know what goes on at drumming circles, hey? What happens at the drumming circle stays at the drumming circle. So they say, and that includes all sorts of chemical stuff. And that really wasn't what they meant. They just wanted to meet new people who were spiritually perceptive and awakened and that they could be on the same page with. And so that's the experience now of the awakening spiritually perceptive, that they look around and the only ones of us they can find are a little bit odd. And so they want to shut that all off and go back to being five zensed because this world is a bit scary. And that's one of my missions in life, is to encourage the balanced, spiritually perceptive indigos to heal, to come out, to be authentic and be normal and create safe space for emerging spiritually perceptive people to join and explore and share their journeys with us too. And we can only do it if we don't terrify them into submission along the way. So please, darlings, take care of yourselves, heal, awaken, find your balance, find your authenticity, and then just love always.